he had a passion for philanthropy. Frank and I, when I first came to Florence, he found out that I was involved with the Boys and Girls Club movement in Sumter, South Carolina. He invited me to come on this board. So that's how our relationship began.
Frank Avent was someone that was always leading quietly and consistently with his actions and his convictions.
He was very, very good business person. But you know, to bump into him on the street, you never dream it. It's unusual, but he was a University of North Carolina graduate. Everybody else around here was a Clemson graduate or a South Carolina graduate.
I was probably my first 2 years on the board, so I paid attention to those on the board and listened. And so again, when I talk about he led quietly but consistently, and he didn't have to use his words to have influence. And that's more meaningful than someone who has to just use words and speak to have influence. So he had that presence about him that was natural. No matter what the discussion or the topic in a board meeting, you always knew that Frank would be aligned with whatever was best for the kids consistently. No matter what the issue was, it's what's best for the kids. So when I'm in a board meeting today, 15 years later, and something comes up, I hear Frank's voice or his actions in the back of my mind because he had that influence on me, which still impacts, hopefully, how I add influence and help the board today. So his legacy lives on. So I do think the award is very worthy because we are letting Frank's presence and his leadership and how he did things continue to live on through the presentation of those that are worthy to receive the award and to celebrate that.
He was more than willing to, I would say, in an impactful way, but very silently support the community. He not only supported it by coordinating efforts for events to support the nonprofits that supported those two areas. He would support it with his time and energy and his financial background. He was very low-key as far as his giving went, but it was very powerful. He was that kind of guy. I mean, it was always well thought out, and he was pretty quiet, but when he said something, you listened. So he called on me, I went. I called on him, and he went. He had a well-planned out answers and solutions to whatever we were trying to address at that time. It was, what can I do to help? And that's the kind of friend he was to me. You know, he ran a big company, and he loved to fish. Really cared about kids a lot. He lived a good life. He was a good family man. He got the chance to see his kids get educated and married off and had grandkids and built the house of his dreams and everything for his wife before he passed away. So he had a lot of blessings, and he didn't take those things for granted.
So the last thing I would say is Frank modeled to me what it means to serve on a board.
That's the story of Frank Avent.